do as I say, not as I do. And that is a recipe for disaster. So not only am I, a woman of color, but then I have the nerve to bring a baby into the workplace. People were like,
all right, guys, welcome to Nothing Fancy, episode 4. We have Amy Hall with us. She's an entrepreneur. She's a life coach. I'm really excited to talk to you, and you seem like you have a lot of just great things for people like myself. I'm 32, well, I'm turning 32, to learn from. Just kind of a little quick background about me. I started my business from zero, born and raised in Honduras until I was 7 years old. And I kind of just figured life out on my own. And now that I'm, in my 30s, I kind of look back and I see how much I didn't know. But I thank God because of where I am. And so, when I started this podcast, that's our mission, is to really sit down with people who have a lot more knowledge and are smarter than me and can say, hey, this is what you should and what you shouldn't do. Like they have a saying in Spanish that basically means el que toma consejo llega viejo, which is like whoever takes advice lives to become an old person, basically. But how are you doing today?
oh, I'm doing great. It's been like one of those days, how they have this like back stuff, but I am so glad to be here nonetheless. So thank you.
Oh yeah. No, I've heard nothing but great things about you. Anybody, Amy, what? She's amazing. So I'm very excited to have this conversation and really get to know you, and build a relationship. So.
Oh, I'm grateful to be here.
How, I want to start off with really kind of just getting to know your story. I've kind of read a little bit about it and it sounds so amazing. So I'll let you go ahead.
So I'll give you I'll kind of condense some things here. So born and raised in Toledo, Ohio. So a native, went away to school. I went to the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, vowed I would never come back to Toledo. One of those. I think a lot of us do that, right? Like, I'm out of here, deuces, see ya. And so go there, ended up after college, came back for like 3 months trying to figure out who I want to be when I grow up. Was fortunate enough to get a job in New York City as an international flight attendant. So that was probably like my first real paid job.
Yeah.
Not at all in alignment with what I graduated with, which was a physical education sports med degree. So, to all those people out there who, go to school and don't really use their majors, I'm one of them. So lived in New York for a while, ended up meeting my first husband, got married, bounced around with his job, had a couple children. Unfortunately, our relationship didn't work out. We were living in Texas, went from Texas to Arizona to Atlanta. Then that's when I was in Atlanta, I was remarried, pregnant with my second son. So I had 2 kids from my first marriage and we had just nicely really started to settle in. I was working in the medical field. I was selling pathology services to plastics, derms, and general practitioners when I got the phone call. So my father lived in Toledo. Father had divorced probably like 7-8 years prior to that. I was 34 at the time. I was 34, living in Atlanta. I got a call on Sunday that my father passed away.
Oh, wow.
So I have no brothers, no sisters, no relatives in Toledo. My mother was living in Wilmington, North Carolina at the time. And so I had like one really good friend who was like my ride or die. And she really helped me during that time. But literally I got on a plane a couple hours later, flew back to Toledo. My dad died on Sunday. I buried him on Thursday and I was named president of his company on Monday.
Oh, wow.
And then the rest of my Toledo story is history.
And then your life basically changed from that moment on.
Completely changed. Everything in my life changed at that moment. So from that time, I was commuting after my father died. I was named president. And the universe, I'm going to put this out there. The universe has this incredibly weird way of making decisions for you if you let it. So I had a great job. I was working for Ameripath. It was a new lab in Atlanta. We were killing it. So later, I think at the end of that week, I get a call from Ameripath saying, "Hey, we're phasing out your job in Atlanta." And I was like, "What?" Like, because Toledo wasn't really on my radar.
Yeah.
It was
You never wanted to come back.
like I wasn't planning. Yeah, that was not at all my plan to come back. Even though I was named president, I mean, I wasn't part of the company, so there were so many things to just try to figure out: my dad's estate, the company, this and that. And so that kind of solidified my decision for me. And so as we were going through the process with attorneys and this and that, and trying to figure out things, and the company needed direction. So I was then commuting back and forth from Toledo to Atlanta until I couldn't commute anymore because I was 5 months pregnant when my dad died and 9 months pregnant when I moved back to Toledo. So the airlines were like, no, lady, you can't get on the airplane because you're getting ready to have your baby.
Right.
So we moved back here right after Thanksgiving in December. And then I had my son literally 30 days later.
So were you close with your father before?
We were. So we were close, but I was not at all involved in the business.
Yeah.
And he didn't want me involved in the business. I mean, my mother had actually started the business in like 1986. So my mom started it. My mom and dad worked together for several years. And then my mom ended up stepping down from the business. My father ran the business. They split up. But no, I wasn't involved in the business at all.
And the when you went to school in North Carolina, was that because you said your mother was out there as well? Is that why you went out there, or?
So I went to school in North Carolina. My mother was here. She moved to North Carolina like later in life.
Okay.
Like later, like when I moved from Arizona to Atlanta, my mother then she was with us in Arizona helping me with the kids. Then she moved to Wilmington, North Carolina when I moved to Atlanta.
How was that like transition from going from what you know in Toledo to a whole different city, going to college out in North Carolina?
Well, my parents always said like that I had to go to school out of state. They would not let me go to school in Ohio. And I think Michigan was too close. So, right. Carolina had like one of the best women's soccer teams at the time. I was recruited by 2 other schools. Campus was great. And it was tough. It was tough, especially, so you have to remember the time. So we're in the 80s, the later part of the 80s, where people really didn't go away to school. So most people kind of stayed locally, maybe like in state, but to go out of state, not that many people went out of state. And then to go from the north to the south. So that was like a whole nother level of life that I was completely unprepared for. So in the South at the time, they were still very much integrated into the Civil War. So you had all these situations going on. So you had the North and the South situation. I was always called the Yankee, right? So I'm a Yankee. So that was strike number 1. Strike number 2, I come from a biracial family. Big no-no down South. Strike number 3, I'm light complected. And so there was this light skin, dark skin thing that was still very prevalent in Black culture stemming from slavery. And so all of these things that I had never dealt with before, I'm totally on my own. At the time, UNC took 300 out-of-state students. There were 3 guys from Toledo who played football at Carolina, and I knew of them, but I didn't know them. And so I'm going down there all by myself into like this arena, like this place that I had no idea. It was hot. It was humid. I was having bad hair days, right? And it was really incredible. And it was about 2 weeks when I was on campus. The dean of minority students brought me into his office. And he was like, "Hey, Amy, like, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, it's hot. I'm trying to understand people because, everybody has a pretty heavy accent down here. Trying to understand people. I really love sweet tea, so I'm good there." And he goes, "Well, let me tell you something." He goes, "You need to choose who you're going to be on this campus if you want to be successful." And I was like, "What? Like, what do you mean?" He goes, you need to choose to either be black or white.
Oh, wow.
You can't be both.
Huh.
And if you want to be liked on this campus. And I very politely pushed back in my chair and I was like, excuse me? So you're telling me you wanted me to choose who between my parents and who I am so people can like me? And I said a few very explicative things. And I said, thanks, but no thanks. And I said, if people don't like me for who I am, then that's what I have nothing for you.
Right. Wow. No, that's really crazy. And this was in the 80s,
This is in the 80s. It's long ago, but not that long ago.
Right. True. Yeah. And so then you went to New York.
Yes, I went to New York after that.
So what made you, I guess, go to New York? Was it a job offer?
Job opportunity. Yeah. It was either that or I was going to go to the Peace Corps because I knew I wanted to travel. I knew I wanted to see the world. I knew that I wanted to do something. And the Peace Corps sounded amazing until I realized there was probably going to be some bugs and snakes and I couldn't get my hair done. And I was like, no, that's not going to work so well. So then I had the flight attendant. I applied with a couple of airlines and the opportunity for Delta Airlines to go and be a flight attendant and train to be a flight attendant came about. And they sent a lot of us to New York because it was right after they acquired Pan Am. So Pan Am had a big New York presence. Delta did not. So at the time, Delta was this very small regional carrier, southern based out of Atlanta was home. So a lot of the people who worked there were from down south who wanted to live and stay in, Atlanta, Texas, Florida, New Orleans, versus going to the Big Apple. Me, I was like, hey, I'm here. New York was amazing. So it was such a phenomenal opportunity.
And that was also in the 80s? Or that was more?
That was in 91.
91.
Yeah, I graduated from college in 91, got a job, and then went to training, I think it was January of 92. And so, yeah, it was 92.
I never, I don't fly that often, but I can never, I can never I don't see myself becoming someone that is okay with flying.
Yes.
I'm always scared.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, always.
Oh.
Did you lose that fear of flying just when you were working as a flight attendant?
I never had a fear of flying, but what you do lose is that drop sensation in your stomach. Mm-hmm. So when you go on a roller coaster, go tick, 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 and you go, and your stomach drops. Yeah. You're like, oh, that feeling is gone. I think from all the takeoffs and landings, you lose that sensation of going up and coming down. It's really the craziest thing. But I've always wanted to travel. Mm-hmm. And so I was I'm still a big wanderlust girl.
Did you get to travel to a lot of countries during that time?
I did. Yeah. So we flew a lot of the European countries. So a lot of the European routes. So I went to Moscow. I've been to Brussels. I went to Paris. We went to Finland, Sweden, Denmark. So here I am. I'm 23 years old. I'm eating mussels, which I didn't even know what I'm from Ohio, right? We don't eat mussels in Ohio. So I'm eating mussels, drinking red wine. I didn't really like red wine either. I grew up on 50-cent drafts right at school. And so, to then transition into red wine and mussels, but you're looking at the Eiffel Tower. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. Yeah. Or you're in Moscow and you're walking around and you see the Kremlin. I'm 22, 23 years old, where that's amazing.
So you're from Toledo, you go to North Carolina, then you go to New York. You're talking about the 90s, and I can't stop thinking about hip hop in the 90s in New York.
Phenomenal. Is the best.
So were you, did you listen to hip hop, all those upcoming artists in the time? New York was buzzing, right, in the 90s?
The 90s, I would say, I'm a little biased, right, because I am a hip hop girl. The 90s in New York was probably the mecca of New York. Wow. And so, you go to a club, you would go out and you would just see all these different artists, and like we were out one night and it was like Mos Def, right? And you're like, hey, what's up? Or you would go out and you would see like DMC and it was like, hey, you know, or Cool J or whomever, right? Because that's really what the 90s were. And then I believe like Tribe Called Quest was coming out, and then you had Wu-Tang Clan, right? So you had and New York was hip hop.
Yeah.
Chicago was house music, DC was go-go music, but New York was like hip hop.
Yeah, I was just watching that Diddy thing, and I was like, wow, yeah, New York in the 90s. I'm sure you were all around that.
It was really fun, and New York was grimy. New York is way cleaner, safer now, but New York was grimy. Your car got broken into, but there was such a cool energy and vibe about New York. It was special.
Did you ever think during this whole time, and then you said you went to Texas, did you ever think that you'd run a company at all? Was that even a thought?
No. My whole idea was, especially when I presented my own self opportunities where I needed to like get my life together, so I could take care of myself, right? Take care of myself and my children. My idea was, let's go corporate. Let's go to corporate America. I can get a great job, probably get a company car, no car note. I was really thinking of stability. I was thinking of companies where you can get promoted internally and grow with the company.
Yeah.
So, but not at all like owning your own business or the entrepreneurial thing. No.
Well, see, I feel like maybe like in the 80s and 90s, and I mean, I know they still push that corporate America thing a lot this day, but I feel like back then it was a lot more than it is today. I feel like people are now kind of like evolving into like more like local, the not anti-corporate, but you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
What do you like? So do you think that probably had a lot to do with why you were kind of looking for that corporate world, right?
Sure. And I think, like we're all so conditioned out of high school to go to college. Like it's what you do, right? You don't even think. You have blinders on to a great degree. Like there were a few people who might not have gone to college, but the majority of people were going to go. You're going to go somewhere. Yeah. So that was really your next step. And it was like, okay, like what can I do to get a good job? It wasn't what can I do that I really love, that I'm super passionate about. It was so much more lineal and practical back then. And up here, corporate wasn't necessarily here because here was very manufacturing, automotive based. But moving away, then you then saw like my first job was after Delta Airlines, was with Abbott Laboratories. So I was with the big medical corporation. And so, but back then it was very practical. It was very practical. It was what can you do to earn a good wage, and you had your boxes you check off along the way.
How long were you with the medical company?
So I was with the medical company. I was with Abbott in Texas. And then my manager got a promotion and got a job in Tucson, Arizona. And he brought a couple of us with him. And I was one of the people who he took with him to Tucson. And so I went from sales, like in the field sales, to market, like in-house marketing. And so then I learned the inner works of companies and how things worked and spreadsheets and things. So it was a really cool thing.
Do you think that when the moment you took over your dad's company, you used all of that experience?
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. And I wasn't cognizant of how life had just prepared me so perfectly for coming back to Toledo and taking over Ebony Construction. With being a flight attendant, I learned how to deal with people.
Right.
I learned a smile goes a long way. You can say a lot of things with a smile on your face, right? Yeah, and you learn that. And you learn how people are, how people act in certain spaces. You learn about cultures. You're exposed to so many different types of people, socioeconomic, demographics, racially, culturally, religiously, sexual orientation. So there was such a great exposure. And then you go into sales. And then so now I have to learn how to manage myself, manage my territory, work with my customers. And then I go into marketing. So now I'm like learning profit and loss. I'm learning how to read spreadsheets. I'm learning how things work. I'm learning what drives the company. I'm learning those things, which then prepare me
Right.
for going to Atlanta. And then it was a self-start. It was a brand new lab. So then I learned self-starting. I learned how to go out and hunt for new customers. I learned all of these and putting all those skills together, then coming here.
That's so like crazy, just crazy timing, kind of how it all happened. Because like for myself, right, I kind of did the same thing. I did a lot of traveling. I would do what they call storm chasing.
Okay.
Right. So there would be a storm. I'd go with 2 roofing crews. A siding crew would go in and just knock out work for a year and a half, and then go to the next storm.
Okay.
But you're going through all these cities. I've lived in Virginia, Denver, Montana, down to Texas, and you learn how it's like you learn about like life.
Yes.
Right, and people and how to overcome like the small hiccups to the bigger hiccups, and it kind of like all prepares you for when it's like your time to do your own thing. And I think about that sometimes, because I'm like, I've always said God's timing is perfect. Right, because of those things. Sometimes I look at things, I'm like, well, that's a crazy coincidence how certain things just happen.
Oh, absolutely. I'm with you. I don't think anything happens by chance, and I think it's all divine timing. Right, the universe is so precise. It's so right on time, right when you need it. And I think so many people forget what you just said, that life has prepared them for so many things, because they get so caught up in the perception of what they're dealing with at the moment that they forget all of these things that have really prepared them to deal with the moment.
And it's just, I that's why I'm like the type of person that if something happens to me, something happens to anything, I don't believe in like losses. I believe in like, hey, let's learn from this. Right, when something happens on a job or whatever, and the team's like, okay, what do we do? I'm like, okay, first of all, we have to learn where did we go wrong so that we don't do this again.
That's huge.
And I think that's one of the things that has really helped me personally, because I've met a lot of people who have made mistakes, and they keep making them make the same mistakes over and over again, because they've never learned from those mistakes. And really, it's the biggest teacher, I feel like.
Oh, for sure. I would 100% agree. If you're open to learning, to your point, right? I always believe, and it's really exactly what you've said, is that life happens for you and not to you. So when you begin to look at life happening for you, you now become so more empowered than when you look at life happens to you. You become the victim, because right, you're just I'm a victim of circumstance, and oh, life is so unfair. But life isn't unfair. Maybe you just missed some signs along the way, chances are.
Right.
And life loves you, and the universe, God, whatever you want to say, loves you so much. It's only here to help you. It's help you to learn the things, the lessons.
It's preparing you for whatever is coming your way.
100%.
And I respect that a lot, because I'm a very I was reading that you choose to either be a victor or the victim. And I never I've never thought about it like that until I was just reading a little bit about you, and because I've always been like, no, like you can't be the victim in life.
Right.
Like I don't know how to explain why you can't, but I look at the cup half full, and I'm like, because I look at my life and I'm like, if you would have saw me when I was 5-6 years old, I'm a kid in a third world country, right, in Honduras,
Right.
and you look at where I'm at now, um, and keep in mind, like, I didn't graduate, I didn't go to college. I just, I have nothing but gratitude, and gratefulness, and um, because, but I feel like a lot of that, 95% of that was mentality of not sitting around saying, "Oh, I'm the victim of life,"
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know.
Absolutely. And I think we go through life and we have choices, right? And you choose, you get to choose your life. And I think some of it is, it's just the fabric of who Kevin is, right? It's like the fabric of who you are. And I don't know why, some people like you and I, we have more the victor mentality versus, oh, life is tough and life is so hard, and we see the glass like half empty. And I don't know the reason, but I know you get opportunities in your life to choose.
What would
that.
you tell somebody that has that like victim mentality? How could they like overcome, I guess, that mentality? Where would you even start?
I think there's a couple things. I think one thing is, just because you think something, it doesn't make it true. So just because your mind tells you, oh, this is, you should feel bad about this and this and this and this, it doesn't make it true. It just means you think about it. And when you begin to realize that your mind's job is to hold you hostage in every area of your life, like your ego, your mind is to hold you hostage in every area of your life. And when you live from more of a connected, with your higher self, your divine self, whatever you want to say, right? With being more conscious, then you realize the lies that you tell yourself, and you realize that just because you think it doesn't make it true, and that there's always another option to see something, to do something, and to be something.
Right. And would you say maybe even also looking at like yourself and saying, okay, what could I have done to improve that situation, or what can I do to improve this situation, versus looking at it like, why is this happening to me?
Absolutely. And you can even, if you want to look at it like, why is this happening from the lens of learning? Like, okay, here I am, this is occurring. What am I supposed to be learning here? Right? Because chances are that's not the first time you've seen this. It might be the first time you've seen it this way, but chances are it's come before. It's come in other situations. It's come through skirts. It's come through pants. It's come through so many different ways. And it probably gets a little more intense until it kind of like is so in your face that it makes you stop, take a pause, and be like, whoa. And ask yourself, is this who I want to be?
Right.
Is this the type of person I want to be? And if it's not, then just do like a small things. Like, I think so many times people think in life that we have to make these grand changes all the time, and you can go from being, a negative thinker to a positive thinker like that.
Right.
Some people it works for, but maybe, you just give yourself like a little relief. And so instead of being anxious about something, maybe you could become maybe a little more curious about something, where the scale of jumping from anxiety to trust is so great that you can't even imagine getting there, right? Or the victim, right? But maybe somebody can go from feeling, like that downness of being the victim to maybe going up the emotional scale and feeling just slightly more empowered for themselves and building that muscle, and then reaching for like a better feeling and go from that way.
Do you think that, and this kind of goes just in general across the board, going from like victim mentality, or just depression, anxiety, you look at all of these things, right, that just people suffer with. Do you think like social media has like exposed that all that always happened, or what's the word I'm looking for, or like accelerated?
I think it's done both at the same time. I think social media has wholeheartedly brought light to conversations that have needed to happen for years about mental health, wellness, that type of stuff,
Yeah.
right? Anxiety, depression, that type of stuff. So I think but what it also did is, when you focus on something, you give life to something too.
Mm.
So it blew up
Yeah.
something that was always there, but then like wildfire, everybody has a something, and social media creates kind of false narratives of people's lives, right? Because you just get a snapshot, right, of somebody standing in front of a Bugatti and like, hey, I'm living my best life,
Right.
but maybe they really aren't. But people begin to believe like that tiny snapshot in time as the truth and as always.
Yeah.
And nobody lives like that always. And so they forget that there is a realness behind that scene.
Yeah. And just the other day I learned of this word. I'm not like a big like social media guy like that, believe it or not. Got this whole podcast. But like I don't really have like I don't have much interest in really like sitting there and like just scrolling. But someone was telling me the other day that they were doom scrolling. I didn't even know what that was. I'm like, what's doom scrolling?
Right. What is doom scrolling?
Like just like when when you get into like this rabbit hole of like something that happened and you're just everybody has opinions, so they're watching everybody's opinion, and and this is and I think that's what doom scrolling is. I haven't actually looked up the definition, but yeah, I think I have noticed myself that social media will highlight, and it's part of like the algorithms and whatnot, but it'll highlight if you're feeling like depressed,
Absolutely.
right? Just people who are depressed and it's a dangerous, I think it's a dangerous game, like just social media in general, and that's why I try to not like be in it as much, because it's like you can easily look at, like you said, someone who's got a Lambo, and then they show another video of them counting all this money, and then they've got this vacation, and then they're somewhere else, and you think to yourself like, man, like my life sucks, why is this happening to me? And then you kind of become like that victim. Exactly.
Or whether it's even like the political narrative right now, right? Whatever your choices, whatever, it doesn't matter to me, but the algorithm just 100% plays into creating like it has to be this way. This is the only way it is, and you don't even hear another perspective anymore. You only hear what it thinks you want to hear, which to your point is really dangerous, because life is full of many perspectives of the same situation. And when you only get one perspective, you 100% lose focus and the ability to see something else, or another way that someone else might look at the same. And then you become part of like the culture of like thumbs up, thumbs down, likes, dislikes, and then you start valuing yourself on if people likes your post. Oh no, 10 people like my post, and not 2,000. And then you're like, oh, I must not be. Then it goes into the victim thing. Oh, I must not be worthy. I must not be good enough because that person went viral, and mine, didn't do anything.
There's a saying in Spanish. This is one of my favorite sayings too, and I have a lot of sayings in Spanish, by the way. It's just how we like communicate in Spanish.
Yes.
There's like a lot of sayings, but it's cada cabeza es un mundo, which means each mind is its own world. And that's kind of like what you just said. There's what was it? There's different perspectives to the same situation.
Absolutely.
You can get two twins that live the same life every single day for 20 years.
Yes.
And one could be depressed, the other one could be joyful and happy, and and it's because each mind is its own world.
Absolutely.
And I think it's part of the reason. I know I keep saying this, but that's why I like to network and talk to people, because I like to hear other people's perspectives, and that's how I learn. That's I learned from like other people talking and sharing their story.
Yes.
You know.
And I think it's so important, especially in the time and the climate and the culture we live in now, is to be mindful of other people's perspectives and to have acceptance of that, right? Because so often we want everybody to think just like us. We want everybody to think like us, everybody to kind of be like us. We all kind of do the same thing. And when you step out of that and you might have a different idea about something, then it becomes extremely uncomfortable. It's like, ooh, like, whoa, you might not be who I thought you were.
Right.
Because you think like that? Like, oh, that's not going to work for me, because we all have to be homogenous. And we all have to have the same ideologies and beliefs and this and that. But it's not true at all. That, the beauty of the world is we are so vastly unique and different. And at the same time, so similar.
I want to talk about you running Ebony Construction, but first I have a question. Did you always think like that, or like at what point did you like your mindset start shifting, or were you always like, have you always thought like this?
I've never thought about what I couldn't do. And my dad, and this is probably my dad, so mind you, back in like the 70s and the 80s, he was really big on like positive thinking. So you have like Norman Vincent Peale and Napoleon Hill. And I remember thinking as a kid, like, oh my gosh, like, why are we listening to that nonsense? Like, like, Dad, stop, blah, 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 one of those. And he would put he would write on like little pieces of paper and tape them on the house. You could do all things through Christ who strengthens you. We're everywhere, all things are possible through Christ who strengthens you. And I just remember thinking like, all right, Dad, like, this is a little weird. My friends are coming over. Can you take these down? But I think there were seeds planted in me.
Yeah.
And my parents were incredibly like independent people. Like my dad played, and they did really cool things too, right? So my dad played basketball at Marquette, like in the 60s, which was unheard of for a black man to play at a major Division I school.
Yeah.
Like that. My mother was, incredibly fearless to marry a black man in the 60s, where in a large percentage of the United States was illegal for them to be married. So my parents were so ingrained in like being individuals.
Yeah.
You kind of grow, and then my grandparents did some incredible things on both sides. So you kind of grow up with these really incredible people, but and it wasn't just about being educated. It wasn't just about whatever, but it was just kind of doing and believing things are possible.
Yeah.
And so I never ever thought something wasn't possible.
Yeah.
It just kind of like my freshman year in high school, I'm like, I think I want to be class president at Brown, and I get to be class president. And it was just like,
it's that mindset.
It is.
It's that mindset. It's like, because you're like, you know that's what you want to do, and it's like life will throw things at you to make that possible, because you're like, I'm gonna do this.
Absolutely.
So it's like it's part of that coincidence, timing type of weird thing that happens.
Oh yeah.
That when you're like, I'm gonna do this, I'm a firm believer in writing it down too. So I'll write it down. I'm gonna do this. And then it's like things just start to happen. I'm going to tell you a perfect example. I also want to ask about, I just have so many questions. But I have I started this podcast, took a little break, trying to get all of the gear back up and stuff. And then I get a call from La Prensa. I'm on the board.
Okay.
And so we go to this meeting with WGTE, and as an entrepreneur, for me, I'm always like, I try to control everything.
Okay.
So I'm like, am I doing this right? Is this, I've got a million questions for myself, and that's how I just work. But, so we go to WGTE, and they're like, hey, we've got this radio podcast show that we want to do with La Prensa, and they're asking me to be like a co-host. And they're like, yeah, we're going to teach you how to like talk. You're going to be in this room. There's going to be professionals and edit it and everything. and it was kind of laid out where it's like, you're gonna come into this, radio show. It's gonna be a podcast. There's gonna be professionals. They're gonna show you how to like talk and how to what not to say. Because they're like,
Sure.
Whether it's politics or whether it's promoting or whatever it is. But I just thought it was crazy timing, because I'm like, this is exactly like what I need. Just that experience of like someone who's like has done it and can say, hey, Kevin, like, what if you say this like this, or what if you word this way, and but it's all part of that just mindset of like, when I was like, I'm going to start a podcast,
Yeah.
and now out of the blue, a month later, I get a call from WGTE about a podcast radio show. And I'm like, that's so crazy.
It's not by chance, right? It's not by chance.
What if I would have never said that? Would that call would have ever happened? So it's like,
Right.
it's
That's
just
beautiful.
Yeah. So
It's beautiful. You should write those synchronicities down and track them, because then you'll start to see them, and like they happen like all the time.
yeah.
Mhm.
I should. That's a good idea, actually. Just write them down.
Yeah, just keep a little notebook with you, like a little thing in your backpack or whatever. When something happens, you'll be like, oh. Yeah.
Is that what you do?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And because I forget.
Yeah.
Right? Because, I have a tendency to normalize things. Right? Like, oh, that's normal. Like, of course that happens to everybody, right? Who doesn't think about a podcast and then get a call from WGTE and say, hey, we have an opportunity for you to do a podcast, right?
Yeah.
That's not normal.
Right.
But
Completely free too.
which is
like,
even better. Yeah.
Everything. I did it for free. I'm like, this is crazy.
It's awesome, right? It's awesome. It is great.
So, kind of just going back to, you said your dad put little positive notes and stuff. Did you see yourself, like, when you became a parent, doing that for your kids as well?
So I will say, the evolution of myself changing throughout my parenting. When I was 23, I grew up Catholic. I was living in New York. I went to church because I had this overwhelming guilt. Like, if you didn't go to church on Sunday, like, oh, just felt guilty. And I remember sitting in church and I was like, why am I here? And I remember thinking, it was one of those defining moments. I think everybody goes through life and you have several defining, if not one, several defining moments in your life. But at that moment, I said, there has to be more to my relationship with you, God, than sitting here and feeling empty. And at that moment, that's when I became a seeker. But it transferred over into my parenting too, because I began to evolve as a person. I began to challenge my beliefs, challenge the things I said. I began to really own the fact that, number one, my kids are going to probably marry some aspect of myself. And do I want them to bring me home?
Right.
And that's a powerful question to ask yourself as a parent.
Yeah.
And if I'm not the type of person I want my children to bring home to me, then I need to be that person.
Yeah.
And I need to be the role model and really pay attention to my words and my actions lining up. Because so often you see parents do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
And that is a recipe for disaster, because at some point you become not truthful with yourself. And kids will call you out on all your stuff all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so I think with those things and becoming more and more conscious and thinking about who I am, not just in my role as mom or my role as owner, but who I am as a human being, who I am as a soul. Like, why am I here? I think all those things really added to the finding of me.
I really like how you said that, because I don't know, I feel like I'm going through like an evolving phase. I'm like about to be 32, and I'm just like, I'm about to be 32, and it's like hitting me, that I'm like,
oh, that was so long ago.
but I one of the challenges for me personally as a man, I've got 3 boys, is how can I make them better than me, and also better than like how I grew up like around parties and just craziness, and I could, this is about you, but
No, I understand.
I didn't have role models or nothing like that. It was kind of like just me on my own, since I was very young. And
Okay.
and I've struggled. Sometimes I feel like I'm also learning how to be a father next to my kids, and I beat myself up about it because I'm like, how did I not know certain things, or how did I not know I had to teach them this? And as I'm getting older, I've kind of came to that realization too, where I'm like, I need to be the role model that I want them to be, because I don't want like them to see, like, I just kind of saw like myself like being and putting my kids in like the same scenes that like I was in, right? Parties and cookouts and everybody's drinking, and
Yes.
and I'm like, I don't know, I was just like, why am I doing that to them?
Right.
Because like for me it's like, and then I was like, why am I doing it for myself too? It's like, but I find enjoyment in it because
Sure, it's fun. It's
you know
social.
but I really like how you said that, because we do have to, as men, I think, kind of put ourselves in and hold ourselves accountable
Oh, for sure.
to those things. Sorry, I'm just kind of talking.
Yeah, no. But I think you touched on like a couple like really good things. I think we as parents put a lot of pressure on ourselves to, our kids have to be better than us. They have to be, don't be me, be better. But that also puts a lot of pressure on the kids too, right?
Yeah.
Because I wholeheartedly believe my kids are born knowing who they are here to be. And we put our hopes, our fears, our regrets on our kids. And then we want them to do things differently than the way we did.
Right.
And I really do believe that it is my job, and I learned this relatively early, that my kids are number one, they're gifts. They're not mine to own.
Right.
They're mine to cultivate. They're a gift. I've been given a great gift in life to be a mother. And that my job is to help them remember who they are here to be. Not who I think they should be, but who they are here to be.
Right.
And I am here to help them see those aspects of themselves that they're born knowing, but we forget due to life. And that's my job as a parent. That's how I feel.
I like that. I really like that. That's nice. I like that. Sorry, I don't know what to say about
No,
it.
that-
I really like it, honestly. I do. Wow, that's crazy. I've never thought about it like that.
Right. And
yeah.
that comes with like evolution, right? I didn't think like that at 32. I was just trying to like make dinner, right? And get through the day and pick up toys and survive, right?
Yeah.
So but you grow and you grow and you see yourself. And then I think a really thing that people do, and I think you touched on it too, about, you're taking your kids to parties and you're taking your kids to cookouts, the same thing you did as a kid. And I think so often we as parents do things that we didn't like done to us either.
Yeah.
And it's so unconscious that we do these things until you ask yourself, why am I doing this? And there's really no reason, just because it's familiar and comfortable, but that doesn't make it good.
Right.
It just makes it familiar and comfortable. And so being able to say, you know what, I didn't really like when somebody talked to me like this, but yet I feel like I'm an adult, so I can talk to my children this way and it's okay.
Right.
Yeah, it might not be okay, right? I might need to dial that down and check myself be, and realize like, I didn't like it. I don't think they're gonna like it. And granted, there's some things that you're just not gonna like, that you just have to do, right? They're just good things to do.
Yeah.
Be accountable, take care of your stuff,
Right.
be responsible for your things, right? I think there's some inherent things that we have to give our kids. But like I stopped telling my kids I was disappointed in them. Like, oh, I'm so upset with your actions. Their job is not to make me happy. Their
Right.
job is to be themselves.
Yeah.
Whatever they did triggered something in me, right? And that's my fault. That's my responsibility. It's my emotions, not them. They should never be responsible for my emotional state.
Yeah.
And so, we teach our kids, hey, be independent. Don't worry about what people think, but you need to worry about what I think. And you need to worry about how I'm going to respond to your action. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be happy. And it doesn't mean that there's not consequences for acting foolish when I told you to stop that, right? Because there are consequences. But if I choose to be mad, that's my choice.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put my emotional well-being, my kids' responsibility.
Wow. That's crazy. You're like the perfect parent.
No, I'm not. My kids will if you bring them on the next show, it'll be a whole nother show.
I think would you say it takes like for any parent or just in any situation, right? Even in entrepreneurship, stepping into that uncomfortable zone, right? Because I always tell my team, I know they think I'm a little crazy, but I always tell them, if we get comfortable, we will die.
100% you will.
You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Yes.
So how I push myself is I put myself in uncomfortable situations where I can learn, challenge myself personally, whatever I'm trying to challenge. And that's kind of where I'm at with parenting, at least. Is I'm doing things that they don't like make me uncomfortable, but I'm just like, I'm learning as I go, because I'm like, this wasn't how I was raised.
Right.
So I'm trying to like break that cycle.
Right. Right. That's a great opportunity, right? And I believe our kids are here to show us aspects of ourselves that need healing too. Kids have this incredible way of pushing every possible button you didn't even know existed. That I could be on the roof in like 30 seconds and be like losing my mind. And then they look at me like, why are you yelling? And I'm like, I'm not yelling, right? And so, but once I start looking at them like, you know what, they're here to teach me things about myself too. It's not just a one-way street that I'm parent, I know best. I am the parent. It's my job to be responsible for you and to take care of you and to help you become the best human being you could possibly be. But they're here to help us become the best human beings we're here to be too.
As much as I love this conversation, I want to talk about your first day when you started, when you were the president of, that crazy week that you had.
Oh yeah.
Right. Your dad passed on a Sunday. You had the funeral on a Thursday, and then you started that Monday.
Yes.
The following Monday.
Yes.
Tell me what you're going through, what's going on. Paint a picture for me.
So, like I said earlier, no brothers, no sisters. So you talk about being like somebody dropping you in the ocean and saying, hey, we'll see you on the shore, just start swimming. And I'm like, where's the shore? And they're like, hey, you'll figure it out. Right. And so you just literally start swimming. I don't have time to be sad. I mean, my dad just died.
Right.
I don't have time. I don't have time to grieve. I don't have time to be sad. I have a company. I have people here who are worried about their jobs. I now am thrust into a leadership position that I've never had before. I'm back in a town that I hadn't been to in years. So I walk into the office and we all have a meeting, and some people are happy I'm there, some people are not happy I'm there, right? Because I'm not my dad. My dad had his own management style. So I sat everybody down and said, like, look, here's the deal. I said,
Everybody in the company.
everybody in the company.
Yeah.
And I said, here's the deal. I said, I have no idea what's going on here. And I said, you all are the experts. And I said, but I am learning. And I promise you, I will do everything I can to learn every aspect of this company. And I said, I'm going to ask you questions, and I'm going to do my homework, and I'm going to come back with answers. And sometimes the answers might not benefit you individually,
Yeah.
but I promise you that that the answers will benefit us as a company. I will not make any changes until I go through that process.
Yeah.
I said, because I don't know. But if there are things that need to be changed, we will have conversations about it, and we will put systems in place, and we will make changes, and it will benefit us all, these changes. And I said, this is your company. And I said, I am here to help, and I am here to serve, and I need your help.
And how old were you at this point?
I was 34.
34.
I was 34 years old.
And this is when you were still living in Texas, right?
Atlanta. I was in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, because you were coming back and forth from Atlanta. So not only are you learning this whole new company, you're also moving.
So at that time, I hadn't decided of what my next step was, right?
Yeah.
The only reason our company made money that year was my dad's life insurance policy. So the company didn't have a good year. The attorneys were saying, sell the company, just liquidate the assets, sell the company, take the cash, stay in Atlanta, don't uproot your life. Everybody's like, why'd you come back to Toledo? You have no family, no friends, no whatever. But I've always believed my steps were divinely guided. And I had this strong knowing that I had to come home. I had to come back home. I knew you don't get do-overs in life. And I never wanted to sit in 5 years or 10 years after that and say I woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get do-overs. So I just said, you know what? I was married at the time. My husband at the time did not want to be in Toledo. We had talked just recently before about moving to California and get a job in biotech. Yeah. So this was not at all on the radar, but I said, I'm sorry. This is something bigger than me, that I have to go home.
Do you feel like you didn't want to let your father down by selling or by shutting down or?
No, I think it was just, when you live in faith and you believe that life happens for you and that things come your way. Yeah. That I just knew. I knew I had to be back home. It didn't even make sense. Logically, everything said stay in Atlanta. But from just a deeper gut feeling, here was where I had to be.
So what was the first thing you looked at as far as when you became the president of Ebony Construction? What was the first thing you were looking at to or were you kind of just looking at everything, or I guess how do you navigate that? Like, how do you
fire hose, so I was really like looking at everything, and then I would kind of like, okay, well, let me look at like, what do you do? Yeah. What's your job? What's your role? What are your duties? Okay, what is your role? What are your duties? What is your role? And then I was like, okay, like, nobody knows what anybody does here. And so I'm like, we need to put something on paper. Yeah. And so we need to start standardizing things. And then I was like, oh, can I get a report? Oh, I'm not going to give you a report. Well, that's not going to work either. Yeah. How am I going to know what the financials are? So I was asking for things that were really standard things in the world I came from, and completely abnormal in this world.
Well, see, you can't. That you were coming from the corporate world.
Yes.
And was Ebony Construction at that time pretty small? Were they?
So we did probably like $6 million a year. So pretty small. We had like 2 dump trucks and a paver and a mill. And so
that year that you but enough to have some type of paperwork where you're like, okay, what's
right? Yeah, we had systems, but we also had erasers. and pencils, right? And I'm thinking like, ooh, like this isn't gonna work. Like I need to know because I don't know.
Right.
And I'm like, how am I gonna learn if you can't give me the information that I'm asking for?
Yeah.
And then I started digging into like benefits. Like, okay, what benefits do we give here? Do we do 401k?
Yeah.
Do we do this? And then I started finding like really shady things.
Yeah.
I found like people were stealing. I found things weren't on the up and up. And my dad managed from a distance. He just let everybody do whatever. And so I'm now coming in saying, hey, let's pump our brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I need to learn what you're doing. And by learning what people were doing, I began to uncover things that had been done.
Oh. Well, I thought I was going to ask you was there any flaws that you know that you?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So that whole transition, I'm assuming some people were leaving, some you were hiring, and then do you think you ever I guess at what point did you start to really love what you were doing?
From day one. From day one.
Yeah.
It was as and I won't say overwhelming because I'm not the kind of person who gets overwhelmed as like huge as it was. It was just, I love the thrill of like the chase.
Yeah.
I love that. I love solving problems. I love building things. I love that. And this was like the perfect opportunity to like do all of that. And one thing I do have to say, we had people there who had been there for years and years and years. And that was another reason why I did go back to Ebony is like, how can I not be inconvenienced when these people have spent their lives here?
Yeah.
How do I have the right to say I don't want to be inconveniencing my life when other people have given their lives to this company?
Right.
And
then
so
you're just going to shut down.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and just, oh, you'll be fine. And that didn't settle with me either.
Yeah. How did people take you, 34-year-old mixed woman coming in to just, oh, hey, I'm running things now.
Right. And I had a baby in tow.
How did men take that?
So I was the lady with the baby. So when I moved back 30 days later, my son Kellen was born. And I didn't have daycare because I don't have any family here. So 2 weeks later, I put like a little nursery in my office, and literally he came to every meeting with me. Every Ohio Department of Transportation meeting. I was sitting on stage with Martin Luther King. He was right there on stage with me in this little car seat because I didn't have help.
Yeah.
So I was the lady with the baby. And they were like, so not only am I, you know, a woman of color, but then I have the nerve to bring a baby into the workplace. People were like, what the heck?
You know what though? I love that because it's like, there's no excuses. It would have been so easy for you to just make an excuse and say, oh, you know, I can't go, or, you know, but in a way I feel like you have to kind of be a little crazy to succeed in life.
100%. You do.
And that is a perfect example of like, hey, you know what? You're coming with me. What's his name?
Kellen,
Kellen, you're coming with me.
And that was it. And I was like, I looked over and I'm like, you're more well-behaved than everybody else in here. So like, we're good. But it's like, this was my reality. Yeah. I had 2 other kids. They were in school. I have a newborn. I have a company to run. 2 weeks later, I'm sitting there. There's no maternity leave.
Right.
There's no FMLA and I can take 6 months off. 2 weeks. I'm back at work, working, because you make it work, right? There's no, oh, I have time to have postpartum. I don't have time for that. If this company doesn't work, we're not eating.
Yeah.
I gave up everything to be here. It was just like, this has to work.
Were people kind of like standoffish because you know, you're a woman leader at this point, or was everybody pretty mellow? Or?
Everybody, for the most part, was pretty mellow, and I was really lucky. the industry loved my father.
Yeah.
So to come behind somebody who was well liked
Yeah.
is a lot easier than to come behind somebody who was not.
Right.
And because my father was well liked, I think people embraced me and they helped me and they were willing to be open to me and to even help me get to places where my dad never went to.
Yeah. Did it set a higher expectation of you?
I think there was no real expectation of me. I think, and maybe that's like one of these like things that happen both at the same time. I don't think there was. I think people were surprised that like a company did so well, and that I personally have done well too. But then on the other hand, they weren't surprised. It was kind of like this mixed bag of marbles, where I think some people were like, well, dogs, like they messed around and actually became pretty big, that type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
whoa. But it was never like no haters,
Yeah.
like outright haters.
Did so the company started doing really well, and people were kind of, you just had mixed feelings, mixed different feelings of people, like you exceeded expectations. You was there throughout that whole process, was there any pivotal moments or days where you made certain decisions that just helped the company improve overall?
I think it was like really a collective energy. It was a collective thing that it's almost like I think I just brought a new energy into the company. My dad was 58 when he died, so he was young, but he was playing golf 4 times a week. So, his priority was a little different. He loved golf, and that, he had gotten where his life was fine, and, golf was his thing. Where me, I was eager. I want us to grow. I want us to do better. And so the energy I brought, I think, really worked with the people who stayed there.
Yeah.
And we all just created this like really incredible environment.
For success.
100%. 100%. Hungry to grow. Hungry for success. Hungry to do what we do better. Hungry to be better. And we were all lockstep in that.
You mentioned your mom started the company.
She did.
And what's going on with your relationship with her during that time? When you take over, what are you talking to her much, or I guess what?
So I really didn't rely on her that much. She had been out of the company probably for like 7-8 years, and so I didn't rely on her for like company advice or anything like that. I felt like I had, between my accountants, my attorneys, and the people who were there, I felt like I had a good team of people like around me. But I think, or I know my mom was so supportive of me coming back, of, taking over something that she had started. So I think she felt like that maternal link to the company, because that was like her baby. Yeah. And so then it's like growing, and has a chance to continue on. And I think I know she was really happy about that.
It's kind of once again one of those little things that you said you could write down, that your mother started the company, your dad ran it, and then it kind of like came back to you, a woman, you know what I mean,
right?
Like, who then took it to the next level.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It is.
Timing.
It's like full circle in a really weird way.
Right. What was like your best year? Best year
there? You know what? It was one of our best years we had was back in 2008. We had the recession, and this was at a time when I was going to church. I don't go to church anymore. I'm a meditator, incredibly spiritual, great relationship with God, but I just don't necessarily attend church now. Yeah. But then I was, and I remember the pastor was on there, was talking, and he was saying, he goes, just because we're going through a recession doesn't mean you have to. And something just was like ding, 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 ding. Because so back in '08, people were losing their 401ks, they were losing their homes, everything just tanked. It was a really hard time. But that ended up being one of our best years to date,
Really?
like at that time. And so we flourished during a time in which so many people were going out of business. We had incredible market saturation because the housing market dried up, the commercial markets dried up. So then all of those contractors then went into like public works and highway work. And so instead of having 4 bidders on a job, we now had like 20 bidders on a job. And so it was just flooded with, like competition, which we had never had before because they had to eat too.
Right.
But for whatever reason, that was like, at that point, that ended up being like our best year. But I think it was because I was in church and I was like, you know what, you got a point. Just because the recession's going on doesn't mean it has to happen here.
Would you mind sharing what was the overall volume? Or
I think back then it was we probably had a really good year of, we were probably like about 14 million. But remember when I started and really took off in 2003, we were probably about at 5-6 million.
Right.
And so then by '08, we're at 14 million. So, we've now doubled plus.
Wow, that's incredible.
In a few years.
Did COVID have any effect with you guys at all?
Oh, COVID was it was awesome. We were essential workers. So we were outside. People took precautions. We only had maybe just a handful of employees who ever even got COVID.
Yeah.
I don't even believe they got it like on the job because we're outside. So we were fortunate again.
The roofing, siding space, residential construction, COVID affected positively, really. A lot of people were home. They were looking at, this roof, the siding. It was like a big boom for the construction industry. And then, there was a lot of changes to a lot of new apps and things that came out where, people could get a quote just by typing in their address, and stuff like that. So a lot of companies shifted to like that. I always said, I know it's COVID, but let's go to their house. It's more of a trust thing, I thought, and I still think that, versus like, just give me your address and we'll just spit out a quote.
Right. And I think during COVID, the personal touch was even more important because people were so isolated that they began to lose that personal connection with people. And I think it was so important that needed to happen. So kudos to you. That was a great idea. People, and I bet it was well received.
Yeah. People wanted somebody to talk to, and in a weird way, like just society, we wanna socialize.
Yes.
Some people we like to be distant, but also wanna socialize. And sometimes there's people that like to socialize more. There's people that like to just be their own thing. So
right.
It was like a good mixture of both, where people were like, oh, finally someone's at my door.
Exactly.
Now everyone's at your door with Amazon.
Thanks, Kevin.
No, that's so crazy. And just so I really respect the fact that you were able to come in and just get dropped in, and just sink or swim, and you swam.
Yeah, I swam. And I think sometimes if we start thinking about what we're going to do, you'll never do it. You get what they call analysis paralysis, right?
Yeah.
That you get so caught up in your thoughts, you will talk yourself out of everything. And I think it was a blessing. Ignorance is bliss in my part. If I would have known what I was up against, I probably would have definitely thought twice about it.
Are you still very involved in it?
No, not at all. I sold it 3.5 years ago.
Oh, wow, really?
And in the process, as I was selling that, I bought another company where my son and I are working there together. We build bridges now.
Right.
Yeah. Go figure. I know. It doesn't even make sense.
Is that more like government work or no?
All same. Public work. DOT work.
Yeah. Huh.
So we set the steel on the bridges. We're steel erectors.
Is that just seems like super stressful
Yeah. He's running the daily operations.
because the
So
bridge is like,
it's stressful for him. Delegate.
is it lots of inspections, I'm assuming?
All the time.
Yeah.
Lots of paperwork, lots of inspections. And I think you know how it is when you have employees, right? They're your greatest asset, but they're your greatest liability at the same time. Because a lot of times people
Just try
do
to
whatever, right? And at the end of the day, all things run and lead to you as the owner. So regardless of what Joe Schmo did on the job, you're responsible. And that's the hard part is setting it up so people can be forward thinkers, but yet be aware, be accountable, be safe, and do their work in a timely manner, which then leads to profitability for your company. And then you can continue on and, it's your reputation, all these things that are out of your control to some degree, but are all your responsibility.
Was it a lot easier that second time?
Oh, yes, 100%. I felt like I was 100%. I knew what to do.
You were doing this, that, nope, yes.
Exactly. So while it took about a year for the deal to completely come together. And so in that year, my son had integrated himself into their office. And so he learned the people, he learned the jobs, he was out working on the jobs. And so by the time we just signed the line, we were already rolling. And it gave, so the former owner had passed away, and it gave the employees stability. Because they didn't know what was happening. And so they felt secure about their jobs. They felt secure about the company's future. And it was great. That was the best decision, is to buy the bridge company.
Really?
Yes.
What's it called?
Armstrong Steel Erectors.
Armstrong, what is it?
Armstrong Steel Erectors.
Steel Erectors.
Yes.
If I ever need a bridge.
Yeah, let me know. We got you.
So you sold Ebony. Now you have Armstrong.
Yes.
What else are you dabbling into?
So we just acquired another company in Elyria. It's called On-Site Stud Welding. And so what they do is they shoot the studs on the steel we place on the bridges. And so we bought them a couple months ago. And that's in that industry. And then here in Toledo, I bought 2 buildings down on Summit Street, down in an area called Vistula, which is Ostrich Town. And so I'm opening up 2 businesses down there on a whim. This was not at all planned. Not at all.
Do you, so what is like your day to day? Like, what's it look like?
Oh, it's like nonstop. So I'm very active in an organization called the Associated General Contractors of America, and they're out of Washington. So
State?
DC. Yep, DC. And so they're probably one of the largest, most powerful construction groups in the United States. I think we have 28,000 member companies, and 87 chapters throughout the United States. And so, and they represent like the building division, the federal division, the highway division, and utilities. And so we have 4 divisions that are represented there. And so I'm on the highway side. And so I'm very active in AGC. And then, but my daily, I get up, I try to meditate a little bit in the morning, and then probably up by 6:30 and rolling. But I'm usually awake by 5:30. Awake, laying in bed, like, let me meditate a minute. I don't want to be up yet.
Do you meditate daily?
No, but I am a meditator. But no, I don't meditate daily. But that is a practice. I used to meditate daily, and then kind of like most people, you start getting busy. You're traveling. I travel, and then, but I meditate at least several times a week.
And so I guess you live in Toledo. And to manage the other companies, you're Zoom calling, you're
Like my son is in Columbus, and so he's there, and then we have a team of people over at onsite too. So we're always communicating between us.
I just, when you I'm kind of, so I have my businesses are way smaller. I'm like a little contractor compared to you.
You're 32.
But I once again kind of going into that like evolving phase of like I'm kind of stepping away from Selena's exteriors and not like stepping away, but just like letting my management team handle things. So I'm learning like how like what the day-to-day like what my day-to-day should look like as far as like looking at reports and looking at and I also have like rental properties and I have like a dumpster business and
Oh, you're busy. You're busy.
that's why I ask those questions, because you look at someone who has more than 2 or 3 businesses who's dabbled into all of these things. It's like, I guess someone like me, I always think there's like this routine, right? That wake up, meditate, do this, coffee, view this company, then view this other company, then view this other company, but you're saying it's not like that.
No, I know, like I'm on from 7:30, 8 o'clock until like 5. I'm on. Like I'm in Zoom calls, I'm in meetings, I'm in this and that. And then I'm on a couple boards around town too. So it's on. You're on, you're answering, you're fielding calls, you're responding to emails, you're going over things. You're like, hey, have you thought about this? Hey, da 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 da. You're looking over bank statement, just stuff. So it's not like my routine isn't like this and this and this and this. It is this all within like this time frame.
Do you ever look at it, just your life, and you're like, how did my life become Zoom calls and meetings?
1,000%. As soon as I said, like, once I sold Ebony, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. Like, I'm retired. Like, I'm gonna be chilling, right? And then never been busier. So, and it's totally my fault. I mean, clearly I've said yes to many things. And so I'm okay with that. But it's fun.
Yeah.
Like, this is fun. And if I'm having fun.
It's like a fun chaos.
Yes, it is. It's crazy. It's totally chaotic. Doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. And I'm okay with it not making sense. Like, whatever.
I have a lot of other things I want to discuss with you, but we are running short on time. So I do want to do a part 2 with you sometime, if you're open to.
I would love to.
Because I want to talk about a lot of other stuff. But I think, do you feel proud of yourself?
I don't know if proud would be the word I would choose, right? I'm very aware of my legacy.
Yeah.
And who I want the world to remember me as. Who I want my children to see me as.
Yeah.
And how many lives can I touch while I'm here? Now, sometimes do I look back and say, you know what, you go, girl? Yes, because I think you have to do that. I think you have to acknowledge where you started to where you are today. And like I told you earlier, I normalize things. I'm like, who doesn't do that? Like who doesn't do these things? 99% of the world doesn't do these things, right? So there is a acknowledgement that I think is good to have when life is good, right? And like I've created a really amazing life for myself, and for my family, and for my friends, and for whoever's in my life. And so, I am really happy and fulfilled with where I am, and so excited and eager for what's coming. at the same time.
If you could break it down to 3 things or 3 words, if someone out there is listening to your story, what are 3 things, whether it's a characteristic, whatever you think that helped you succeed in life, that you had, that you would tell somebody, these are things that you should have, or you could have to help you succeed in life?
I think number 1, take a risk. Do not be afraid to take a risk, because if you don't take a risk, you will never know what could possibly be waiting for you on the other side of that. That's number 1, because nothing happens by playing safe.
Right.
It all happens with stepping out of your comfort zone that you talked about earlier. Number 2, look at the 5 people you spend the most time with in your life, and ask, are they a reflection of where you want to go? Because your friends and whoever those 5 people are incredibly influential and impactful in your life. And if they represent who you used to be and not who you want to be, then you might need to make some adjustments. And the last one, and I think the most important part of this, is you matter. So many people go through life feeling that nobody sees them, they're not valued, but that's not true. That what we do every day leaves a footprint of where we've been. And we come in contact with people every day. We touch lives every day, whether it's positively or negatively. But when you know you matter in this world and to your humanity, it changes the way you see yourself.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Amy Hall, we're going to have to do a part 2 because we did not finish this.
I think I talked way too much. Sorry.
No, I really appreciate you taking the time to sitting down with me, and I'm serious about that part 2.
Oh, so. I'm all in. I am looking forward to it already.
So thank you. And then I'll just do a quick ending. So thank you, everyone. Amy Hall, you were amazing.
Thank you.
Great. I hope to have a part 2 with you. So whenever your life isn't as chaotic, I want to get you in here again. And to everyone, I hope you guys learned something in this conversation here. Please go like, share, and subscribe. This is Nothing Fancy.